Do not summon for Miss Yixuan. Or maybe you should. That's what we're talking about in today's video, guys. Going over all of her pros, her cons, her future profitability, what team she works on, and giving you information on why you should or should not be summoning for Miss Yixuan, because I think that she's probably going to be the best DPS in the game. But we do have a banger character coming out right around the corner right after her, that being Miss Jufufu, that could give her a run for her money. We'll talk more about that in the video, though. So first things first here, let's go ahead and hop into the pros and cons of Miss Yixuan first. Starting off with pro number one, she is the de facto best DPS in the game, hands down. I don't think there is any disproving that, because my god, does she snap off. I mean, we can take a look at what she does here, guys. She genuinely does the most I've ever seen any DPS do, and I think she far surpasses what Miyabi is able to do. Oh, look at Miss Ellen Jo getting a little buff there as well. But overall, what Miss Yixuan's able to do is, first of all, she's our first HP scaling DPS that we have, so that will automatically make her fucking insane with the damage she's able to put out. But not only this, guys, she's first of all going to be ignoring defense. All of her attacks are considered chain attacks for whatever reason, so any chain attack buffs are going to be absolutely essential for her. She works off of 3 different things to get her additional ability up, which is stun, support, and defense characters. And with this, she's going to be gaining free energy. She gives herself free energy. She gives herself free crit damage. Like, she just does so much that makes her the best DPS. Like, she gives herself a lot of free stuff. Not to say that she's not the hardest thing in the world to build, but overall, she does give you a lot of free stats to help you build her up along the way. There's also going to be a new set added to the game just for her, so hey, you can't really go wrong with her. Let's go ahead and hop into con number one, though, guys. Is there's a lot of upfront costs. And what I mean by there's a lot of upfront costs is, we can just head back over here real quick, guys. She is literally a new typing and new class of character, guys. She is the Rapture class, which means, yeah, basically everything that you would normally have to farm up for her, or you're gonna have to farm up differently. So all those essential materials, yep, guys, you gotta farm up all these new little essential materials here to make sure she's up, which is not too bad at the end of the day. One thing I do like is that even though she is a new damage type, it is considered ether type, so you don't have to go on the path of farming all these up. But in terms of W engines and stuff like that, you have a completely new farm for any of the new W engines you want to farm, because all the new W engines, obviously playing off the new class here, that being Cobalt, Sphere, Radio Wave, Journey, and also her signature W engine there. Alright, guys, now let's hop into pro number 2 now, which is free crit damage, defense down, kind of all the buffs she's going to be giving herself. First of all, she gives herself 40% free crit damage just from being in her meditation state, which is not too hard to get into, but overall, this is going to be an absolutely massive increase to the damage she's able to deal, and also makes her build much easier, because if you look at something like her build, right, let's say her best in-slot relic sets that you're going to be using on her, which is going to be the new Unique Tails right here, is going to be basically giving you free crit rate up to 3 times. So what, 4, 8, 12% free crit rate there, so that's going to be massive. Then you get sheer damage percentage there too, but you're missing out on some of that crit damage, and that's where the crit damage is going to be coming for the kit, so that's really nice there. And then on top of that, guys, it really does help out with the lackluster, or I guess lacking options of W engines we currently have for her, because like I mentioned before, she's a new class, so there's not many W engine options in the game right now. They're all brand new, so if you don't get a good one of these, that really does help you out with the stats. So overall, the more free stats she's able to provide, the better she is going to be. Alright, guys, hopping into con number 2 now, that is going to be, she's a DPS, so she is much more prone to wear. And what I mean by this, guys, is since she is a DPS, we obviously know that she is going to get power crept with time. Now, if we were to look at something like the Pride 1 tier list here, I genuinely do think that she is going to be above what Miyabi can do. And judging from when Miyabi came out, which was patch 1.4, to now, which would be technically patch 1.8, so a matter of 4 patches, Miyabi has been power crept, and I honestly think by a pretty decent margin. So what does that mean for her, right? That means she'll probably be on top for 4 patches, and then she becomes worse, because if I'm going to be realistic with you guys, most of the DPS we're going to be getting in version 2.x and onwards will probably be the baseline of what Miyabi is here. And then obviously we're going to have some of these other characters like Ellen Jo be moving up a bit, right? But not moving up to the tier that they're necessarily on, but overall, this is going to be what the new tier is going to be looking like. Our baseline is going to be a Miyabi, with the goal to achieve is going to be Miss Yi, but she is, like I said, prone to wear. We saw 4 patches with the Miyabi, with her being on top. Miyabi is still going to be good after this, but you do start to see wear on DPS just more and more. That's just how gacha games go, guys. So I mean, like, a pretty obvious con there. But now let's move on to our next pro, which is going to be Banner has the Panda Man. Yes, guys, the Banner is going to have big old Mr. Panda Man himself there, and big old Panda Man here is actually going to be really good for someone like Miss Yi. And the reason why he's going to be so good for someone like Miss Yi is because of the fact that, first of all, he heals. Secondly, he's going to be increasing the amount of sheer damage she's able to do, and that's where her main source of damage comes from. And then his additional ability here will be making you deal increased damage to enemies. So this is basically a vulnerability debuff you're putting on the enemy, or making just enemies in general take more damage. His ult will be healing, which is going to be really beneficial. And then also he has some off-field DPS present, so he's kind of like a sub DPS that gives some buffs to the team. So he's honestly a pretty decent character that we're getting on the banner with her. So we love to see a new A rank added to the game that adds a new versatility, or adds something to her class that really no other support in the game currently does. HSR, you haven't released the new 4-star in a year. Let's get on that gravy train and do that with HSR, please, too, God. All right, guys, hopping into our next con now, though. Good luck, have fun, mobile players, guys. I am sure you have seen the absolute state of this girl's kit right here, guys. This is probably one of the most complicated kits I've seen, judging just from the core passive alone. This bitch is longer than a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle passive right here, and honestly, look at the skill. Why does the skill have 30 goddamn lines of text on what it does? Guys, she is going to be complicated to play for mobile players just because she has a lot more inputs than her normal DPS would. I would say she's not as like super high skill cap as like you see some characters in the game are, but she is definitely not on the level of someone like Hugo Vlad where you pop in, skill, and then get out and then you're done, right? So for her, I think the mobile players will have an issue with comboing and everything like that. Of course, if you're sweaty, that's not going to apply to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the casual mobile players. But hopping into our next pro now, which is going to be new class, new type. Yes, guys, a completely new class, completely new type. Now, what this means is the content in the game is going to be catered off of this type. Also, what this means, guys, is you're going to start to see a lot more emphasis on this new class and type, meaning new characters, at least with the class she is, right? So that means a lot more support for her coming out in the near future, I really do think. So this adds a bit of an upfront future-proof ability for her. For version 2.0, she is going to set that standard, and people are going to follow behind her, guys. So having that new class and type is really going to help her out in the future-proof ability aspect, so I do genuinely think that's a pro for her. Hopping into what is our last con now, guys, is she provides no buffs for the team, which really does hurt her overall future-proof ability. Because whenever she does get power crept, what position or role does she really play on the team? She doesn't really play one, because she doesn't really offer anything to the rest of the team. If you take someone like Piper, for example, right? Piper's a prime example of this. Maybe not like the best example in the world, but she does offer some type of team support when she is not the main bitch dealing damage on the team. And that's right here. When Piper has 20 or more stacks, she increases all member squad damage by 18%. So she's giving a damage bonus to the whole team just by existing. Now, while yes, she does provide some type of heal to the team, what sub DPS level of damage will Miss Yixuan be able to provide, and what type of support does she provide to the rest of the team? I really don't know what that is. So for that, I put it as a con, because it does hurt her overall future proof ability, and that's how I grade characters, of how good their future proof ability will be. So I think that's a really big detriment to her. Now hopping into our next pro, guys, HP scaling for massive damage. Like I mentioned before, guys, she does scale off of HP percentage, meaning you have a higher likelihood of hitting higher amounts of damage just because she does scale off the HP percentage. And usually this shows scalings are higher in general. Now onto our last pro here, guys, which is number 5 for whatever reason. So much free energy, or I guess it's not called energy in her case. It is called adrenaline. Or maybe this is translated wrong. I don't know, guys. We're doing this before any information comes out in-game about her. So yeah, she gives a lot of that to you for free. Hey, you can't go wrong with getting free energy, guys. That makes her have a higher uptime, makes her be able to use her skill faster and everything like that. Now, I want to hop into kind of what her best in-slot teammates are, the teammates that she can actually work with are, because I'm sure you'll want to know what characters you might have in your account that she works with, right? Astrial, obviously going to be super good for her. I also do think Lucy will play a pretty good role in the team here. I think Shokaku will. I really do think any of our, like, A-rank supports will play a really good role here. I think where the problem really lies at is going to be that stunner role, right? Because I really do think she wants someone on the team to hit some different parts of the damage formula, just because she has so much of that up front of the damage formula. That's why I think Panda is a really good option for her, just because he increases the amount of damage you're doing to enemies, which is a vulnerability that you're putting on the enemy, which means it hits a different part of that damage formula, versus someone like, let's say, a Lighter, right, which really doesn't affect her at all, other than like just stunning the enemy. His damage bonus don't help you out at all. Coleta can help you out, but it's still a damage bonus to chain attacks, which is all the damage she does. But to me, that's kind of a small gripe, but these are all the characters that I see her being able to be used with, so take this for what you will. And if you have any of these characters, she might be a good pull for your account. If I were to rate her pros and cons, I do think her pros do outweigh her cons by quite a bit. And I kind of want to lead on with that now to the future value of her, right, guys? She has a lot of room for growth in the new meta, guys. She is a completely new class. She works completely differently than a lot of the other DPS we currently have in the game, or she does work quite a bit differently to them, I should say. Well, with that being said, I do think she has quite a bit of growth that can happen to her, just because of the fact that we're going to get more supports for her because she is a new class and a new type. I've said it so many times in this video. Anyways, guys, look how well Miyabi still does. But yeah, I mean, like, Miyabi has been top of the top for multiple patches, and honestly, people have not cut up to Miyabi yet, guys. Honestly, like, look at these characters. These characters should be where Miyabi's at. If Miyabi was in the game, this tier list would look a lot different. Okay, that's all I'm saying. They've been playing catch up with Miyabi. Now they're going to be playing catch up with her. So yeah, dude, she's going to be absolutely massive. Like I mentioned previously, though, you can expect a steeper decline than your support characters because she will last a lot longer. If we look at support characters in the game right now, yes, Caesar King's drop, but I do think Caesar King does play a massive role into what we're going to see in the future for version 2.0 and beyond. So I do think she'll go back up. But look, Lucy, Nicole, still at the top. Shokaku, still near the top. Like, a lot of these early 1.0 characters still at the top of the tier list here. Look at the other side here, the DPS category. Wow. All these 1.x DPS falling off mighty fast, if you don't mind me saying. So, yeah, you can expect a steeper decline there, guys. And one thing that's not really, like, clear right now is she's going to have to battle with whatever the adjacent meta type is. Like, for example, in the 1.0 era, right? When those anomaly characters started coming out, they were the top. They were the bees and knees. Nothing was competing with them. Crit-based DPS were not doing shit. She's going to have to compete with whatever that adjacent DPS meta is, or whatever the adjacent meta is. So do keep that in mind for when you're pulling this character. They're going to have to compete with that, and maybe, just maybe, they'll be better than her. But all in all, guys, at the end of the day, should you be pulling for Miss Yixuan? I think she's a really good pull for your account. If I were to give you a pull priority, I do think Miss Jufufu is better, because Jufufu is able to offer you, I think, more for your account than she will in terms of longevity. I think longevity, Miss Jufufu's more of like a jack of all trades, or a master of all trades, if you will. Like, she does a lot, and she will help your account out a lot, and she can just be put on any team, whereas she's a DPS who will fall off after time, but you do need a DPS to kind of get your account rolling, so you're kind of in a rock and a hard place. Well, do you have a DPS that can clear content right now? If no, pull her. If you do, don't pull her. That's as easy as it is, guys. I think Jufufu is better in terms of value, but I don't think that she's a bad pickup for your account. Do what you're going to do at the end of the day. Let me know what you're doing in the comment section down below, and that's going to do it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Later, bye.